Strong words from President Obama yesterday, but does he have the ability to authorize more military action or the power to mobilize an international coalition to go after jihadist militants in northern Iraq and Syria?
Joining us, Democratic Congressman Adam Schiff of Burbank. He's a senior member of the Intelligence Committee. Welcome, sir.
Thank you. Good to be with you.
As you know, many Americans want some sort of action, especially in the wake of the beheading of the journalist James Foley. Should the U.S. engage militarily in addition to what we've already done? And if so, does the president have to, under the War Powers Act, seek your approval, seek Congress's approval by October 7th?
I think if the president wants to expand the military campaign and say go to airstrikes in Syria with the broad objective of defeating ISIS, then he will need to come to Congress. If there's an urgent situation, another attempt to rescue hostages, that he can probably undertake on his own under Article 2. There's a need for swift action there that a deliberate body like Congress can't really respond to. Or if there's an immediate threat, that is, there's a cell in Syria that's well along in a plot against the United States, that would justify, I think, the president acting under Article 2. But something broader than that, something that's intended to be of long-term duration, he will need to come to us, and more than that, he'll need to make the case to us and the American people. And I don't think that case has been made yet for air attacks in Syria. We don't have the same capabilities on the ground there that we do in Iraq. In Iraq, when we bombed ISIS and helped force them away from some of those Kurdish areas, the Peshmerga, those Kurdish forces, could come in and seize that ground and hold it. Similarly, near the Mosul Dam. We don't have forces like that in Syria.
The U.S. could act alone when going up against these militants. Right now, working on, though, getting a coalition of different countries together, but some are asking when several of these countries that could become part of this coalition have allegiances with different factions that are fighting over there in Syria and Iraq, that could become an issue. How do you feel about that?
It's a big issue, and it has been all along. In the beginning, I think some of the countries in the region, Turkey, Qatar, Kuwait, Saudi, they would let anyone in and fund a lot of people if they were going to fight Bashar Assad and not ask too many questions about just how extreme they were. And we warned this was a very dangerous approach. It could come back and bite them. Now I think there's a very belated recognition that they've helped create this monster that is a real threat because the ISIS ambitions don't end with Syria and Iraq. They extend to Lebanon, Jordan, Saudi Arabia, and elsewhere. We need to get Turkey to close its border to these jihadis, these foreign fighters coming in. We need to get the Gulf states to dry up the external funding. It won't be a cure-all because there's a lot of revenue sources for ISIS now within Iraq and Syria. But there's a lot that these regional allies have to do.
It was so disturbing to learn this week that at least one American was killed as a jihadist fighting over there. You know better than anyone, being on the Intelligence Committee, that one of the concerns is that these folks are going to start coming back to places like England and to the United States, bring some of the tactics they've learned over there back to the homeland. How are you tracking, or how are we tracking these folks who go over there and then eventually, presumably, come back?
It's very hard, and in the first instance, we try to stop them from going there to begin with, and I think a lot of cases we get the help of family, parents who are concerned that their son is talking about joining the jihad, and they're worried their son's going to go over there and get killed. So we get, I think, often friends and family that help prevent people from going to join the fight. But many people, it's just going to be impossible to stop them from getting there. They go to Turkey on vacation. We don't know. Are they going on vacation or are they going to go to Syria? We have a better capability, I think, once they're there to identify them and then make sure they don't come back, or if they do come back, that we have an eye on them so they're not going to execute any plot against us. But this is going to be a threat that will be with us, I think, at least a decade. And it may not be as an intense a threat in the near term, although there certainly is near-term risk. But a few years from now, if ISIS is still around and still holds territory, we have a major post-9/11 al-Qaeda-like threat on our hands.
All right,